want to be completely honest when I'm making this video. Every international student or NRI has had this thought at some point of time, should I just move back to India? In fact, I was just having this conversation with Caitlin, my wife. Should we move back to India? You feel stuck, confused, maybe even ashamed. But I want to clear the noise that this video is not just about why people move back to India, but it's also about when, how, and what you should do if you are thinking about moving to India. I'll share real stories, emotional truth, and advice so that if you leave with a clarity and not guilt. Make sure to watch the full video because this decision, it's not the end of your story. Maybe it's the smartest move. If you're new to this channel, my name is Yudi, and on this channel we talk about moving to United States as an international student, doing your masters or bachelors, and building a successful life and a career in United States as an immigrant. So that includes immigration as well. But today we are talking about moving back to India. I actually filmed 5 different podcasts with different people who recently moved back to India, and they fall under different categories. And in this video, I want to talk about 3 main categories of why people really move back to India. And so if you want to watch this podcast, please consider subscribing. They're coming very soon. Now, let's start with the toughest category, which is the number 1 category. People who didn't really have much of a choice. These are students who probably just finished their master's degree. They are now on OPT. They are trying their best to find a full-time job. But to stop the clock and to make sure that they can still be on OPT, they are doing unpaid internship, volunteering, applying for jobs every single day, hoping something would turn into full-time job. But it didn't work out. They waited, they applied, still nothing. Now the OPT is ending. STEM OPT is about to come. They can't really do that much about that. And so their option is they could do another master's degree or maybe do a PhD. But deep down, they know it's not worth any more of their time and money. So they chose to go back. And one of the podcasts I filmed was with Chinmay, who came to United States with 2 years of work experience. He finished his master's degree. He applied to over 10,000 jobs during OPT season, tailored the resume, ATS optimized everything, still just got rejections, visa issues, layoffs, market crash. He said this in the podcast that I was waking up to rejection every single morning. I felt like a failure and I was disappointment to my family. But eventually he realized going back isn't a failure. It's just the next smart move that he has to make. Now, this is probably the number 1 category why people move back to India. So if you are in this boat and you are graduating, I hope that you do find full-time job, and I hope you don't come to the point where you spend entire year trying to find a full-time job. Now you are on STEM OPT and you can't do much. So before the time comes where you have to leave United States and move to India. Now, this is probably where the most people will be in this category where they are moving back to India. I mean, of course, there's other categories that we're going to talk about. But if you are someone who's on the first year of OPT, who's trying to get this full-time job and you're not seeing any success, please don't wait until the very last day of your OPT expiry date. Make sure that you start applying for jobs at least 3 months before your OPT expiration. Because again, you don't know what's going to happen. So at least having some form of backup is good. Maybe not 3 months, at least 1 month before your OPT expiration date. So when you move to India, you have some income coming in versus zero income, especially in Chinmay's case where he does have to pay off the loan, but he made a smart move of finding the job before he left United States, and he had the job. So when he was there, he had the income coming within the next 2 weeks. And one of the advice that he gave me was he immediately updated his LinkedIn. This was when he decided that he needs to move back. He also used Monster and Naukri, which are more popular job portal in India. And also he said that you can actually call recruiters directly. They give the phone number, and that probably works in India. Obviously that doesn't work in United States, but the hiring process is slightly different. So start getting used to the different hiring process. You may get interview calls and there's a longer process. So just start early before it's too late. Then there is another subcategory of the first forced situation in the forced group that they did get the job. They worked hard for 3 years on OPT and STEM OPT, and every single attempt they tried to get H1B. But problem is they never got picked. Now what? Yeah, they did have an option to do day 1 CPT of doing another master's. They could possibly try for O1 visa. They could go to Canada and start a new life altogether over there. They looked to all of it, but their gut said, nope, no more. And so they decided to move back as well. And listen, I've said this before, this takes a lot of strength. It's not giving up, it's knowing what's best for you. So here's the real advice that one of the podcast guests told me, is that if you are in this situation where you have gone through 2 attempts and you are on the last attempt, be hopeful that maybe third attempt is your golden attempt and you get an H1B instead of doing another master's and day 1 CPT and all of it. At this point, if you want to continue to be in United States, you want to start thinking about your backup plans. Maybe it is an L1, maybe it is an O1. Or if you do want to go back, one of the students in our community, he switched to 1099 independent contractor role in the same company. So his company may allow you to do remote job, like the company you are working for may allow you to do remote job being in India. Or perhaps they are like, nope, we don't want to do this. You could ask them like, hey, can I be a 1099 independent contractor? And this is very, very common. Actually, it's much better for employer because they don't have to pay your taxes, your 401k, your health insurance, because you are an independent contractor. Their cost dramatically reduces, and maybe they'll pay you $3,000 to $4,000 a month. It may be a huge pay cut in terms of United States, but if you're moving back, that is a lot of money for India. So again, if your OPT is expiring and you are in your 3rd attempt, you want to start this process at least 3 months before your OPT expires. You will thank yourself later. So make sure you do this. And again, I'm going to release all these podcasts so you get to know the full story of how they went about this whole process. Now let's talk about the second category. Now these are the people who have been in United States for 4 to 6 years. They are probably on H1B, maybe even have a very good job, but they are thinking long term. They miss home. They are maybe a single child, so they are missing the parents who are getting old. Their partner wants to work but can't because of the visa issues. They want to start a family. They want kids, and raising them with the family near to them sounds much better. They want to build something of their own. Maybe they want to start a business, or they want to start their own startup. And also they know that they can live much more comfortable in India with support, with help, with freedom. So they are planning their return, not in panic, with intention. So this is the second category. And perhaps in this category, you could also be someone like Dhaval, who I did the podcast with, who spent 8 years in United States. His I-140 was in the process. His wife left her career in India, but moved to United States, got married to Dhaval, moved to United States, but could not work because did not have H4 EAD. And then his company laid off his entire team. He said, I didn't want my wife to waste more of her time with having a bigger career break. And they decided to go back and did all the calculation, and they are saving more money in India that they were able to save in California. Okay, if you are in this group and in this category, here's the advice from the podcast people that I've done is start exploring internal company transfer. Let's say if you are in the stage of your life where you are thinking about moving, you want to probably start thinking about internal company transfers. These are the best kind, because if your company is able to move you to India branch, it's ideal. Or perhaps start researching tech hubs like Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad. Don't just blindly move. Have a game plan before you move. Apply before leaving. You see, Dhaval was able to find a job in India within a week after returning because he had experience and clarity. But you might not be as lucky as Dhaval. You want to have a job before you fly back to India. So don't take an abrupt decision. Maybe plan out much better if you are someone in this category. Then there is the final group. These are the people who have done it all. F1, OPT, H1B, I-140, but now their green card is in the long wait, probably 30 to 50 years. And they probably have lived in United States for more than 8 to 10 years now. And they're asking, is this how I want to live my life? Scared of being laid off, watching life passes by and away from our parent. These are also probably the people who are single child and don't have anybody else to support the parents in India, and they naturally want to go back to be with their parents and with their family. They're not burnt out, they're just done. They built their career, they have done the US grind, and they are super happy with the experience they got. But now their heart is somewhere else. They're thinking, I got what I came for, but now I want peace, I want time with my parents, I want to live a little slower and probably more comfortably and more conveniently because I have money for it. Now, this category probably have a little bit more planning to do because they have money saved up in the banks and stocks and retirement accounts and health plans and health savings accounts and so on and so forth. So if you are are in this category, you probably want to start thinking about this at least 6 months in advance. I have my best friend Neville, who I also did the podcast with. He falls under this category. He spent almost 10 years in United States before he moved back to India, and in his case he did an internal transfer to India with his company PwC. So again, maybe that is the conversation you want to start having 6 months before your move, because you want to give yourself time either to do this whole internal transfer, because you're going to go on a bigger paycheck since you have 8 to 10 years of experience. So it's going to take some time and convincing and negotiation. You don't want to stay with the company that you are working in United States. You probably want to figure out your job hunt, and you probably want to have a plan, logistics, make a clean transition, etc. Probably want to think, would you want to rent or move into your family home? If you have a home, will you relocate to a bigger Indian city which is slightly far from your family? Maybe your family is in India and you might want to move to Bangalore because that's where the tech hub is. And this is probably the decision that you will be taking also with your wife, assuming or husband, assuming you are married at this point. And you probably want to take that decision with them as well, that what do they want to do, and do they want to stay with their family, do they want to. So all of this is going to take at least 6 months, maybe even a year of the whole transition, because it's a bigger decision. You're moving your life whole back to India. Now, if you have saved well, I'm assuming you have work with a tax consultant to strategize your 401k, Roth IRA, investment withdrawals, because there's going to be penalties and there's going to be tax payments and all of that. Also, make sure to keep your NRE account, NRO account active. Don't just go to India and then delete those accounts. We can probably go much deeper in the financial part of it if you are interested in this topic. I don't know if this is something you would be interested in. So let me know and we'll make more deeper videos on this topic. But here's the truth that no one talks about. Let's address the emotional way. Moving back isn't easy. You're gonna be facing questions and taunts and even gossip. Weren't you in the US? Were you not able to find job? Did you got laid off? Why are you back? Dhaval said people even asked his parents behind his back. But here's what he learned. You can't just wait for other people's approval. You have to own your life, you own your decisions, and keep moving on with your life for peace, mental health, and happiness. The truth is that visa rules are complicated in United States. Many students end up in second master's degree just to stay in United States, maybe even third master's degree. Some even consider doing a whole fake life and resume through consultancies. I'll probably make a separate video on this. And people who are on age 4 category, and husbands and wives who are on age 4 often lose their identity because they probably had a job or a career in India and now they move to United States. Until their spouse is in certain stage of green card, they can't do anything. They don't have work permit. So some people forget their dreams just to protect their visa. So in my opinion, it's okay to move back to India. Like I said earlier in the video, that me and Caitlin did discuss this. Like, should we move back to India? Like, what will our life look like? And like, how are we gonna navigate this whole situation? So we are talking about it. So before that, let's break it down, like the pros and cons. Look, staying in United States does come with high salary. You'll have a higher pay package, but maybe you want to consider where are you going to save more, like in United States or in India. You probably will have global tech exposure, that is like obviously, but the growth in India is crazy. Everything is growing like 10 times faster. But there's going to be visa issues and complication. There's always going to be a risk of getting laid off and not knowing like will you have enough time to find another job. Your partner probably can't work. You can't travel freely during some emergencies or orders by some presidents. You can't travel freely because of the immigration policies. In some cases, you can't even change jobs very easily. Moving to India, like I said, maybe you will have the salary dip, but who knows, maybe you will have savings more. You will have your parents and family support. You will be able to enjoy all the festivals with your family. You'll have dual income if your partner decides to work as well. Better mental peace. Convenient. Let's talk about comfort as well, right? Like Zepto and Blinkit is mind-blowing. You'll have house help in like $100. You'll probably be able to get good house help, so you can use your time to do something better. Growing economy. India is growing like booming like crazy, and in fact some of the friends that I've done podcasts with, they're making like $5,000 to $10,000 a month in India, which is wild. Like that is a lot good money and a very good life to have in India. And yes, there's going to be traffic, there's going to be pollution, and there's also going to be a lot of bureaucracy. There's probably also going to be cultural readjustment. There's also going to be independence. Like, obviously if you move back with your parents, you had certain independence and freedom. Now you won't have that. There's also going to be a lot of politics at work. Maybe the work culture is not going to be as same. So there's going to be a blurry line. Again, watch these podcasts. You will learn more about their experience of in India moving back to United States. I just want to remind you that moving back is not a failure, it's a reset. It's an opportunity to live your life on your own terms. But don't rush it. Whether you're a student or working professional, just start early. Make a plan, don't burn bridges, have savings and job strategy in place. And if you need help, our community is here. You're not alone and you're not behind. Again, like I said, I'm going to upload all these podcasts on the channel, so consider subscribing. And also we do live sessions with immigration lawyers. So if you have any immigration questions, please come and talk to us. We're going to talk about personal finances. Let me know what more you would like to know on this topic. If this topic was also interesting or not in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.